Yes.
Hey,
The
look! It
humble-
finally decided to let us be live. We've just been over here yapping about beans, magic
Beans.
beans.
Uh-huh.
Magic
You know,
beans.
Beans.
Welcome to the Pocket Dimension Live. Today we're talking about Daggerheart, Tales of the Valiant, Vampire the Masquerade. Did I already say? I forgot. We all have COVID. Anyways, I'm going to roll that beautiful beam
Yay.
footage. Welcome to the Pocket Bean Dimension Live. I don't know.
I'm delirious.
We are.
delirious.
Brain fog is in full effect. I'm AK. We're going to get this off right.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's Ev.
I think you're
Oh,
next.
I didn't know which way it could go.
Oh, yeah.
It was a 50-50 shot.
It
I'm
really
Evan.
was, yeah.
Who knows? What do y'all know?
That's Matt.
And then that's Evan, my brother, on the other side of
we are-
of beautiful AK. Yeah.
Very, very sadly down. Our girl Fitz.
Yeah. She
Yeah.
hurting.
It was too much.
It was much too much. So we are back. This time last week we were all together, a little bunch, and I was gonna say beautiful Indianapolis, Indiana. I don't know if I would say beautiful, but you know,
Delicious food, though.
delicious
man.
food.
Delicious food, man.
Uncommonly good food.
Uncommonly
capita.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Strangely good.
we had a great time. We're going to talk about all the things we did and played and saw, and maybe some of the things that we ate, including some of the really good beans that we had. But yeah, let's just go ahead and we all came back with some iteration of con crud. So
Yes, we did.
gonna be a fun show.
It's gonna be so
Yeah.
Please, though, send all of your loving
Well wishes
vibes to
Yeah.
Fitz, because we want you feeling better immediately, if not sooner. Who is here with us? So
That's
Evan and I
so
are here.
many.
Kai is here. Kai is running some Tales of the Valiant games for us this weekend. And next, Fire Drake McPhee, our good friend Blade Bound Saga, who we got to see at the con
Yes.
and play some games with. We'll talk about that soon. Seth
Yes.
is here. Galaxy
Swordplay
Fox.
sorcery.
Jaken, who we also got to play some games with.
Yes.
Dan, who is jealous. We are also sad that you weren't there. So next year,
Yeah,
come.
man. Next year.
I think I saw our friend Sarah Drew.
Mobs. Phoenix.
Um,
KBH.
Yay!
Flies with my friends.
Okay, let's go ahead and get this out of the way early. We let ourselves and y'all down potentially. I believe that we only walked away with one set of dice between the four of us.
Really?
So ashamed. Well, I was gonna buy a set, and I for once in my life decided to not be an impulse gremlin and think on it all weekend. And then when I went back to buy it, they were gone.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah. That's the risk.
I
That's the
know.
risk.
Risk it for the biscuit.
Golly.
Yeah.
But
Evan?
so
So
you're saying-
who bought a set then?
Evan.
Oh, that's right. This gorgeous dice.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I don't have them actually here beside me. Otherwise, I'd show you.
I was
But
about to say, do you have them there? All right, that's okay.
no.
We did discover, very important. We did ask the Dispel Dice people, what is the name of the font that is so
yeah.
gorgeous on Dispel Dice?
Can you name
It's-
it?
Can you name it? Well, you
Yeah.
can't.
Anyone want to guess?
Yeah. Go ahead.
You can't.
guess.
It's a trick question.
It is a trick question. Evan's just being a trickster. They designed it for these dice.
I figured.
And I don't really know what it's based on. Neutroface, Evan thought, he asked a bunch of nerdy questions, and they're like, no, wingdings.
Custom.
Drew.
Custom. Yeah. Wingdings.
It's a custom set of wingdings, is what it is.
Mhm.
Uh-oh. KBH is out. The dice game is lame. Let's blow this
No,
joint.
no.
Stay.
Girl, please.
Big Bro DM
stay.
says, I don't want to say I'm disappointed, but my face shows it. I can see the face you're making right now.
Damn.
I know.
Damn.
Sorry, bro.
room.
I know, buddies. We're
bro.
sorry that we let y'all down, but the reason we didn't buy dice is because we were out having experiences, and money can't buy that, friends. You just have to be
I
in the
didn't
moment.
let you down.
Evan did his part.
Evan
for yourself.
represent Zent.
Yeah.
And hey,
I
now
will
know
go into the garage and get my dice to show you if I need to.
Well, and I now know the set that I'm going to buy when next I place an order on Dispel. That's got to count for, and so I'll still count them as con die. Okay. Well,
Yeah, man. Hey, look, whatever.
so now we know that y'all are upset with us for not buying enough dice. I now want to ask y'all a question. Whether you're live in chat here with us or watching this back later, I want to hear from you. So last year and this year, we kind of committed ourselves to going to cons because we think it's fun. It's a good time for us to get together. It's a good time to hang out with y'all. It's a good time to see what's coming down the pipeline. What are y'all's favorite cons? What cons are you dying to go to if you aren't a conner? We have done collectively now GenCon, Gamehole Con, Gary Con, Heroes Con here in Charlotte, Dragon Con, New York Comic Con.
Yep.
We would like to maybe expand the radar.
SCTC.
Yeah, SCTC.
The Elizabethton Spud Festival.
Yes. Listen, I want to be the potato queen. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I know you are.
I am the potato queen. I am in my potato era right now, and
You
I
really are.
feel
That was the first thing AK said to us upon seeing us. Guys, I need to tell you, this is my potato face. Let me tell you everything about what I eat.
You did say that
all night. Yeah.
Taters. That is a quality carbohydrate.
Potatoes precious.
What is taters precious?
They're really nutrient
they
packed,
really
more
are.
so
They're
than you
just-
think. Yeah. They get a bad rap. Sweet potatoes,
Not as much
are
as beans,
nutritious.
though.
Beans, man.
Oh,
beans
man.
and potatoes.
There's no can't replace the beans.
All right. So Sarah Mob says con, make your own con. Dan says,
Hell
I went to our Alaskan State Fair and bought an oversized D20.
Oh.
See, you guys are coming out with the, also,
Okay.
yes, we will be. So actually, Will Foy and I were messaging just yesterday about PocketCon 2025.
Ooh.
Uh-huh.
I am manifesting
NAB. NAB in Vegas. I have often wanted to. We should go together, Kyle. Let's just go and see all the nerdy gear time stuff.
Windsor
BravoCon?
Comic Con.
Anybody?
What's the con in Canada, Matt, that we talked about last year?
I don't know, but somebody was saying
The
how good
Poutine
it
Con.
was. Poutine Con.
Poutine Con.
Just
Yeah. Oh,
many flavors of
Yeah.
poutine.
Yeah, TTP. I can't remember the name of it, but it's in. I think it's in Toronto. It looks really good. I think
I
it's
remember
like
talking about last year.
the Gen Con of. Anyway, it'll come to me.
PAX Unplugged is getting some mentions, which is like that's still on the radar for this year potentially, as is Gamehole Con. Matt already has tickets to Gamehole.
Oh yeah, I do because my mentor, he doesn't know it yet, but my mentor Mike Shea Sly Flourish is going to Gamehole Con, and I was a little bit on the fence just because money is tight. But if Mike Shea's going, I'm going.
All right, sword
I
play and
have a Mike
sorcery.
Shea question.
Okay.
Yeah,
Where does he live? Do you know?
somewhere in Virginia.
Okay. So why is he? Why I get an alert for his Twitch stream at 6 a.m. every morning? What's that guy doing?
Sundays. Yeah, that's when he records Sundays. Yeah, I guess it is 6 a.m. for you because it's.
It'll be
5
fine
a.m.
for
for
you.
you.
I don't think it's 6, but it's really early. It's really early.
No, I get that
Really?
alert. I wake up, and it's like bleep. Sly Flourish just went live.
Oh dear God!
Like,
Turn that off.
Swipe left.
Sarah, who do you want us to kiss? Sly Flourish? We would all gladly kiss
before
him.
church.
Give a
Kiss him before
smooch.
church. I guess she wants me to kiss Mike Shea.
Yeah, we'll
Oh.
give him.
I mean,
we'll smooch him.
He's not
fine.
really my
But
type,
just-
but I'll
Does
go
before
for it.
church mean you have at least space for Jesus to fit between you?
Jesus, as we always say.
What?
As
don't
we
know.
always say.
Yeah, shade
all right.
him.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Slow
PAX is this year, first weekend of December in Philly, and Gamehole is mid-October in Madison, Wisconsin.
Yep.
Which was the whole
Very
reason I wanted to
pretty
go
place.
to GaryCon, by the way. It was less for GaryCon, sorry for anybody watching who that's news to, and more so I could drive through Kenosha, Wisconsin and go to the Cheese Castle.
Cheese Castle. Cheese. But Madison
Get that
is.
squeaky cheese.
I would move to Madison. I'd move to
Would you?
Madison. I would.
Very cute little town.
It's an adorable little place.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. We should create the Church of D20. Got to leave room for the Holy Spirit. Fitz is here. Fitz is here.
Oh, I feel like in some ways this GenCon, as it has been mentioned, thanks to Rice Combo, thanks to Jakin, thanks to Will Foy, thanks to Kai, we've kind of tiny beginnings of the Pocket Con, and I could not be more excited. I mean, we basically just did GenCon stuff together, but I mean, what's the diff, right?
Right.
Come on.
All right. Well, if you're watching this back later, drop us a comment. What cons need to be on our radar? What cons do you love? What cons do you hate? I want to hear from you as we build out our list for the rest of 24 and 25. This is a selfish ask, but I'm interested. I'm interested in what y'all have to say. Well, let's talk about the con we just went to, boys.
Okay.
So we learned a big lesson last year. I thought that the point of a con, I sincerely thought this. I thought that it was to fill every second of every day with as much as I could, and very quickly slammed into a wall and slid down it. Not a literal wall, a figurative one, by day 2 of the con. So this year we were like, we're going to take it easier. We're going to do, 2 things a day, and everything else can just be icing on the cake. Yeah. And we did.
See, AK, though, I remember this differently than you do, because the first thing that we did at GenCon last year was we sat down for Candela Obscura, and who's the fella that came up to our table?
Ivan.
Thank you. Ivan from Darrington / Critical Role, and gave us some con advice that we asked for. And he said, don't feel like you just do one thing. Don't feel like you have to do everything, because you'll regret it. Right. And I thought we adhered to those, to his.
We already had our schedule packed last year at that point, and we heard that advice and went, oh. Now there were some things we noped out of as a result of feeling, but we had already set our schedule into motion by con time.
And you may also be blending a little bit of Gary Con and Gen Con together, because we absolutely
Gary Con was
failed.
Intense.
Yeah, that was way too much. We got sick there too. So yeah.
So this year we started out. We played Vampire the Masquerade, which has been on our collective radars for a while, but none of us had played. Right. We were ready to. So yeah.
Basically just like that.
Prehensile fangs.
Yeah. This is how you play Masquerade.
So what's our review? By the way, last year when we got back from Gen Con, we tried to set a timer to give us like 5 minutes to talk about every game we played, and we stressed ourselves out. No.
Oh, you don't? Okay.
No.
Right, cool.
We're not adhering to any rules this year. We are feral beasts who will talk about things for as long as we want to.
Now we're totally pros. Okay, we can do this, Fire Drake. So I personally liked Vampire the Masquerade enough to buy it. I bought the book. And so I kind of need to dive into it. As you can imagine, but we did not know, and we discovered as we got there, it is a very political, very role-play heavy talkity-talk game. Yeah. Which I have no problem with, not a bit. But there's you really, for Masquerade, you are playing it for the lore. It is I do not know how you could take the book and then set it in another world. Yeah. Which is fine, because the world is gorgeous. The book is gorgeous. We just don't know the first thing about the mechanics, because we rolled dice like 2 times. Yeah. But let me see.
What clans did we play? So I played
Bruja.
You were Bruja.
Hold on. Yeah.
I was Malkavian. I had to look it up. I couldn't remember.
Oh, you did. I got it right here. Sorry.
I played this like boho meditating. But then also being feral and like killing people in their sleep. It's all about balance, right?
Somehow Fitz was the druid of the.
Yep.
Yeah. I was Toreador. That's the art obsessed.
Yep.
People. Tremere?
Yeah.
Or Ventru? Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's gorgeous. The lore is so intense. I think Fitz had an amazing idea, which I immediately started looking into. and I bet you, Fire Drake, and others can help with. What she wants to do is jack in and download all the lore and do it in a way that you don't necessarily have to read this big old book. I looked into video games. There are a couple that people like where they you can kind of ease into learning about the lore. There's one coming out called Bloodlines 2 that already has bad reviews for some reason. So maybe that's what we do. I haven't looked into books, but I'm sure I have. I didn't know this game was out for 30 years. 30 years.
Yeah,
wow.
That's wild. Yeah.
30 freaking years, man.
Damn.
So, I don't know.
Well, I think people must like it.
Yeah.
I bought it. KBH, Kyle, I got this book because what I want to do is grab our mutual friend Michaela Petro, and
she'd be a good vampire.
Yeah, because when I told her that we were going to get GenCon, she said, "Are you playing Vampire the Masquerade?" So I was like, "Okay, cool." So now I need to do it. So if you're interested, it's a pretty neat game, and it sounds like Michaela's down. So let's start.
Can I also just say that they had one of my favorite booths at the con?
Yeah.
As a marketing nerd, former professional convention person, I tend to just really get sucked into the way that people set up their space on the expo hall floor, and their banner art was captivating, enticing. It lured me right in. It made me want to give them all my money.
Yeah,
quality.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It was a really, really gorgeous booth. So
it really was.
If you're out there, Masquerade design team.
Mm-hmm. I have a thought about Vampire the Masquerade.
Yes.
Please, the game that we played.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. The actual game, yeah.
The actual game. I found it was interesting, especially you kind of go in with a pre-gen character, right? We just got handed a sheet, and you're in your clan, and the clans have certain ideologies and beliefs that you just roll into your character. Like you just go, okay, I think the Bruja are kind of more they're ready to scrap. So I was like, oh, great. Let's drink some blood. Let's go.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have other people at the table who have very different ideologies, and it felt like as a party, and this might be different if you're choosing your party together. Maybe you'd all be of one clan or something. But at this one shot, putting these different ideologies set us up for a lot of no but moments where people are like, and you're kind of prescribed to do it because you have to stay true to what your clan is about, right? So everyone was doing it correctly. They were yes-anding their own character, but it made for
no butting you.
Yeah. I was like, but I also thought it was interesting that in the game there's a lot of rules about what politically what you should and shouldn't do. You don't want to show people that you're a vampire. You can't break the rules at the what's the coven, like the gathering of vampires that has a name.
The coven. It's pronounced
the coven. Right. Thank you. And no powers at the coven and all this and that. And it made it very hard to just become a chaos gremlin, which is usually my go-to thing for any one shot. It's like, okay, I'm just here to mess shit up.
And you're so good at it, by the way.
Oh gosh.
Thanks. Yeah, but it was probably appropriate that I was not allowed to do that in this sense, right? So that was actually kind of interesting and fun to go, okay, I've got to think. I think like even the voice that I gave this character was kind of goofy in this like kind of this was set in Chicago, so I was like, okay, let's give this guy Chicago
2 3 blocks,
2 3 drops of blood, and and I was just thinking, I'm just going to make this guy an idiot who's going to try to kill people, and that I never got the opportunity. I'm bummed I never got to roll some dice and try to kill some humans, or other vampires. But at the same time, I was like, this is challenging me to not be just an idiot.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Here's my final takeaway. First off, our poor GM had to spend 2 3 old bite here. Our poor GM had to vomit all of this lore on us. and it took most of the time. And
It was a lot. Yeah.
He probably had a neurodivergent brain too. He kept talking about his kids and taking calls from his kids and stuff. Yep. So there's that. Yeah. But also, I don't know that this game is a one-shot game.
Yeah.
I just don't know that it is.
Because the lore is so heavy. Yes.
It's so specific.
Yeah.
It's a political game for sure.
Like Blades, which I mean, I'm doing the same Chaos Grim, and I'm not doing a one shot, but I'm still being just an asshole in this game. I'm probably making it so not fun for everyone else who wants a nice spooky game, and here comes my idiot. But
I'll never not want to play with you, but you know, we can't speak to the strangers. Yeah.
Thanks, AK. But yes, I would love to play more in this vampire world in an earnest sense. In fact, I'll name my character Ernest.
There you go.
And Ernest, the very, very serious vampire.
That's good.
Let's go.
Yeah. Rye says, agreed. One-shot game only if all players know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could put it together, but don't waste the time trying to learn all of the lore again. It's gorgeous. It is stunning. And again, 30 years worth. So,
and I will say that across the board, we got incredibly lucky. We played at great tables with great people.
We really did.
And had fantastic GMs. More on that as we continue talking. Last year, we did not get so lucky. There were some tables we played at that were tedious at best. So I felt good that we had set that intention of like, we're going to be with the good ones. But yeah, I would play Vampire again. But yeah, I think I saw it earlier in the chat that Vampire, and I know I've also heard this about Call of Cthulhu, which we're also interested in trying out, that if you get into combat, you've done something wrong. More or less, which is just not the style that I personally normally play, but I'm open to learning, delving into all of those wonderful things. So,
all right. 2 thumbs up. Would recommend.
2 thumbs up.
I will definitely play it more.
If anybody in our Patreon,
any of our patrons, if anyone on our Patreon.
I am turning into a vampire. And also Jason 96, the beauty in the middle is our friend Allison. Is AK. Just in case you didn't know that. If anybody in the Patreon would like to play Masquerade with us, just let me know, man. Got the book ready to rock.
So up next, unless there's anything else anybody wants to say about Vampire, the Masquerade.
Vampires are out. Werewolves are where it's at, y'all.
So then we played Mork Borg. Did we decide how it's pronounced? Fitz did, but of course Fitz isn't here.
Mörk Borg.
I'm not sure. Mörk Borg, I think, is where we listened to the creators say it, and they may have done the American version, but it sounded like they were saying Mörk Borg.
Who could say it?
A Swedish person.
Yeah. Let's see. Is Fox close enough to that world to know how to possibly?
I mean,
Danish?
Fitz Duolingos.
Yes.
I don't know.
But we're dumb old Americans. We don't
Mork. We
know
played
names.
that Mork Borg. So
Mork Borg. Yeah.
Mork Borg was one of them. Was one that no, you have not missed the Tales of the Valiant part of the live stream yet.
No.
So Mork Borg was actually one that I was most looking forward to. I was looking forward to Tales of the Valiant and Daggerheart, of course, because I know them. But like Mork Borg is the one I keep hearing about from Matt especially, and knew I wanted to play. I will say that DM style wise, it was the 4 of us with Fitz, 3 of us and Fitz, and then another person that we did not know who just slid right in. And I loved this particular GM because for my neurospicy type, I like to just dive in, throw me at it, and I'll ask questions as we go. Having like an hour of explanation up front, you lose me, and my eyes glaze, and I'm playing on my phone and looking everywhere else. And that's exactly what this GM did. He just threw us into it, and we started playing, and it was so much fun. Matt, my favorite part of this one is what happened to you less than a minute into the game.
Less than a minute.
I mean, instantly.
Less than a minute.
Matt died.
So here's a good way. I know everybody's always asking, what system should I play? What kind of system would I like? If you find a system that has an online character builder that you press a button and it spits out a character, playing a game that your character will die a lot.
Yeah.
Because that's why they build that. It is not about creating the character. I had one hit point. I tried to open up a crypt.
Tomb or,
the top of the crypt fell on me and I got crushed. Next.
You killed yourself. You killed yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh, I killed myself. Yeah.
Instantly.
It's so great. But so in that way, it's close to the Dungeon Crawl classics, certainly Shadow Darks, but it has a different feel. And our GM was really smart to not, like AK said, not dive too deep into the lore. But the biggest difference between Shadow Dark and Mörk Borg for me is Mörk's crazy lore. It is truly heavy metal in every way. Our play of it this time was definitely on a more neutral side, on a more Shadow Darky side. Just going down into a place, opening up things that fall on you, attack you, blah blah blah. So we loved it though.
The chat has devolved to people wanting the Swedish Chef to GM Mork Borg, which I would play. I would play the shit out of that.
I would pay good money.
I'm in.
Chef DM.
Yorp. Let's go.
Chef DM.
We found our September one shots.
I really loved the initiative for Mörk Borg. It was really cool, and if you haven't played it, it's really simple. You don't roll initiative. The GM rolls the initiative, and it's a 6-sided die. If it's 1 to 3, they go first. If it's 4 to 6, you go. Your party goes first. That's it. It was fast. It was easy. It was really cool. Combat was fun. I'm normally kind of like, a little bit snarky about simplified combat systems. I'm like, well, this, I don't know. I'm just kind of in a silly way. I'm just kind of, well, I'm just,
You have you know what you like.
I had no idea what to expect in this case. Maybe so I didn't have any prejudice about it. So I was like, oh wow, that was really, really fun. It was fast paced. It was cool. I would 2 thumbs up. Would recommend. Definitely want to play it again.
Fitz is on the screen. Mörk Borg is the game I'm most interested in continuing to dive into. Just enough dice, plenty of heavy metal.
I also want to know more about the lore. I need a Matrix download for all of these lore-heavy games.
Now, what I could see, though they don't really exist, but, if you took the concept of the Mutants of Rage and you would they don't really have different species, I don't think, in Mork Borg, but you could
Bill,
really...
The GM, Bill, was kind of like, you could be goblins or other stuff.
Okay, I'll have to look at it again. I do own it. I will read it again, and we will play it. So again, if anybody wants a Mork Borg game for our delicious Patreon, please.
The chat is ready for some Tales of the Valiant, y'all.
Okay.
I love it.
I mean, they're ready to hear it because, number one, it's getting the perfect amount of press right now. It's getting the perfect amount of goodwill right now. And we, the 4 of us, trashed it last year.
We did.
This is our redemption episode.
This is our redemption arc.
I almost made some humble pie to eat.
So if you are a fan of our channel or a hater of our channel because of that video we put out 1 year ago, it is time for us to eat some crow. So
to be fair, I think what we were saying a year ago had a little bit less to do with our critique of the game. We had a very negative opinion, and I think and we did have some spicy opinions about the game itself, but we were really kind of complaining more about our personal experience, which is a lot more subjective, right? Because it's the cons are intense and people they can be in bad moods. You never know what's happening with somebody. So
a lot of things.
At the end of the day, was it a little too spicy? We ultimately thought so. And we're here today to now say,
pull it back in. By the way, Evan, I don't know if I told you this, but I did see our GM from last year wandering the floor.
yeah.
So anywho,
So let's have it.
So Matt and I got to play. We got to play with Kai. We got to play with Kai and with Rice, Bladebound Saga, and our good friend Will Foy, and our new friend Zach. So this was one where we all got to play with people that we more or less knew. Zach was the newest one to us, but we had dinner with him, and he fit right in. So that was first of all. So there were 5 of us, and there were 6 pre-generated characters. So we all kind of sat down and felt like we got to choose something that we were a little bit drawn to. I went with the Tales of the Valiant version of the. He was a wizard. He was a battle mage named Unthar, and he was a ton of fun to play. Matt, who did you play?
I played a fighter named Giada. I kind of based her on Giada Del. Yeah.
And Bladebound Saga, who, yes, exactly. Bladebound played a kobold immediately, was like, I'm playing the kobold wherever they are, and was a kobold warlock. And I gotta say, y'all get over to Bladebound Saga's channel. I am lucky enough to get to play in 2 games, one 5e, one Daggerheart weekly game with him. So much fun, such a good GM. But it is so fun to get to like see a really good GM also become a really good player. And
Daniel is that killer. Yeah. Go to his channel. Go subscribe. Do all the right things there. Yeah, do the right thing. Come on.
Do the right thing. So it was a ton of. We had a great party. Who Will played cleric, and then Zach played. Was it a machinist?
Machinist.
So Zach was playing with you guys. I don't think I realized that.
No, not Zach from Kobold Press. No. Zach that we had dinner with.
Right.
That's one of Daniel's friends.
That's Zach.
Yes.
Got it.
Too many Zachs.
Super nice guy. Yeah,
too many Zachs.
It was so fun. I felt there were some mechanics. So my problem, and the problem I did not do a good enough job speaking to last year in that video that has since been taken down temporarily at least, was that, Kobold Press had a really major Kickstarter. And my understanding from that Kickstarter was that this was going to be an improvement, a different sort of game. It was
a new game, period.
Yeah. And as it's come out, no, that's not what this was ever intended to be. It was supposed to be more or less 5e for people who no longer feel like supporting WotC and want to give their dollars to a different group. And we,
like everybody, all of the content creators, all of the creators, the publishers that saw writing on wall during the crisis of OGL, which is still scary, which is still wobbly, right? Like not the OGL itself, it's just Hasbro and WotC. It's still wobbly. Come on, man. But like they saw this writing on the wall and they're like, okay. Kobold Press was like, hey, we have got millions of dollars worth of products that rely on these rules. So they just took 5e and they added their just delicious flavors to it. Really great flavoring. And they shored some things up and they put their own little spin. You could easily step in if you know Dungeons and Dragons. Easily step in. But there's some really cool additions that are Tales of the Valiant specific that you can kind of just pick and like Mike Shea, like pick and choose whatever you want to do, and it becomes like flavors of 5e, right? The flavors of 5e.
Flavor.
And this is a really, really good. This is a really delicious flavor.
Well, and that was my favorite. So my favorite kind of parts of it. So I think the biggest thing that most people know about with Tales of the Valiant is the luck mechanic. So basically it's a way to ensure that you're going to fail forward, because even when the thing that you intended to pop off didn't, you get a luck point, and then you can trade those luck points in 1-for-1 to do certain things, or you can kind of like cash them and you can do 3-for-1 to give yourself advantage and things like that. So it's kind of in how you want to flavor your turn. The other thing that I wasn't expecting but was really, really impressed by playing the wizard is that my subclass features actually made me worthy of being in the party. They actually
Yeah.
did stuff. A lot of
Yes.
times with 5e, I
Okay.
feel like you've got these subclass features that feel cool in theory, and then in practice are either ultra weak sauce, or they have to be this like exact, you know, you're boxed into, it has to be like all of these factors must take place before you can pop off with that. And this was like, nah, man, like you're a wizard, you're learned, you know shit. So whenever you want to do stuff, you go do it. Have fun. And I loved that like element of like, I can do all of the things that I want to do, actually be an asset to my party and have fun while doing it.
Yeah.
And it was easy to pick up because the language is similar to 5e. So there was no like scratching my head and be like, hi, what's this?
Right.
And Kai, of course, we've now also talked about what a fantastic player Bladebound Saga is. Kai as a GM, come on.
I mean,
just
you know,
so good.
just so excited and proud, if I'm allowed to be proud. But like, I just, you know, you get to know somebody, you get to know somebody online, and you love them, and you know that, you know, you make friends, right? But then there's that little like, ooh, but are they actually in real life, are they going to be good at no worries. Kai is phenomenal. I can't believe how well they were able to, I mean, it was a 4-hour game, but man, I could just see their wheels turning as we moved through this adventure, this little one shot, as to how to end it. I could see them. It was like so just chess game, and Kai, it was just so well done. I mean, it was just the best.
It was.
I mean, in so many ways, Kai, you turned our feelings around about this entire game. You know, and so my next thing after that game was to run to the marketplace, and I was going to buy this game, but we didn't have to because we met another Super Plus for Cobalt Press in general was, and what is his last name, AK? Do you know?
I don't know his last name.
So the community manager Zach, it kind of came up to us and said, Pocket Dimension, how did we do this year? Because he had reached out last year when we had issues and were vocal about them. And he's like, how do we do? We really, really tried to do. And I was like, dude, man, we were greeted. Everything was super organized. Everybody was so nice and polite and fun. And then he was like, yeah, I want this to be a new thing. The way that the marketing was the year before, he just, it's like it needed to change. So now we're saying this is a flavor of 5e, and proudly so. Yep. And it just made all the difference. And then he handed us some books. So thank you, Zach, for that.
Newbill, apparently.
Newbill, thank you.
That's the best part, is when you can see a company, an organization, anybody. And we have to say that we've been very vocal about this with Daggerheart as well, with Darrington Press, taking feedback and like in real time iterating, making things better. Because they're all asking for feedback, and a lot of times it's like companies send you follow-up surveys. How'd we do? And you send it in and nothing ever changes, right? And I have to say that Cobalt Press and Darrington Press are the two this year that they learned from their mistakes, because we filled out surveys last year, both with the game and the experience. And you could tell that they had put some thought into how the entire thing was run, start to finish, from the line and getting everybody in the door to how they actually ran the tables. Then the changes to the game, so that even though it is 5e adjacent, it is very comfortable for those of us familiar with 5e. It still felt a little bit exciting and new, and like there was some new sparkle and magic to it.
I think even though it doesn't change combat, which those of you who know me know that my biggest beef with 5e is the combat, and that's a personal thing. I know people love it. As a GM, it's very hard for me. It gets sloggy. I'm always trying to make it faster and more efficient, which, by the way, Kai did a phenomenal job of. But out of the box, Tales of the Valiant, with this luck system, makes every miss something that you can turn around. And it's just so simple, but it's so good. Like if you don't ever, if you could buy the books just for that concept. You don't actually have to buy them for that concept, but I'm telling you, it's worth it. Yeah. But I'll also say this, because thanks to his kindness, I've been reading this book. The monster not manual. It's called the Monster something. Is
the Big Book of Monsters.
So great.
Yep.
Yeah, it is so great. I mean, I have Tome of Monsters. Tome
Monster
of
Vault.
Beasts. Yeah, the Monster Vault is
Monster
the Tales
Vault.
of the Valiant. And that I've seen Tome of Beasts before, but the Monster Vault monsters are it's as good as Flea Mortals, maybe even a little cleaner and better. It's really tight. I'm switching over monsters to there's something really balanced about them.
Yep.
The way that they're organized is so well. The artwork is gorgeous. Just A++. Man.
White Fox had some great things to say today, but use several homebrew or third-party rules for combat in 5e.
Yeah.
Luck is fantastic. And that's kind of what it's all about, right? Is we're all learning to kind of grab the things that sparkle to us and just leave the things that we don't care about behind. By the way, I have to say, this was my first time experiencing this. Kai did something called Con Initiative, which I had never experienced, and I loved it. So what Kai did is we all rolled initiative, and then whoever had the highest initiative, which happened to be Matt, Matt was sitting between myself and Zach. So then it was the next highest is the direction that the table rolled in. So then we didn't have to get into this very clunky, like, oh, who's next? We just were always going in a circle.
It was really good, including the monsters.
Including the monsters. So it just, and I love,
That's cool.
That's something
it adds the randomness. It adds the randomness, but not a ton of rolling and marking and figuring. It's
efficient. And that's the thing where like you're rubbing off on me, Matt, is like finding the things that like drain you. Cause sometimes it is hard to be like, where is my focus going next? Yeah. So I almost want to steal Con Initiative for all games. That way I can just like look at the Zoom screen.
Yes. Why not? Who cares?
And just keep things humming along. And I mean, honestly, the only person that it screwed was me, right? Because I had rolled the next highest and I ended up being dead last.
You were the last, yeah.
And I didn't care. And as someone who is usually the most competitive one at the table, it didn't bug me. So I feel like if it didn't bug me, it's not going to bug most people. But sound off if you disagree with me on that one. So
I'm super bummed I missed that.
Yeah.
We are too.
Yeah, that was. I mean, that sounds like it was so much fun.
But we'll get to the reason why it was good that you weren't that you missed it.
Real quick,
the things that you were doing.
Shameless plug alert. We have a Patreon, as we've already mentioned, and our biggest, one of the biggest things there is getting to play games together. And lately we've had a lot of fun exploring some different games than 5e. So we've done Shadow Dark, we've done a lot of Daggerheart. And this month, we actually are doing Tales of the Valiant, led by Kai.
Yes.
So unfortunately, all the games for this month are already sold out. Yay! But stuff like this is stuff we would love to have the appetite for and more people to run silly games with. So I believe in our show notes is our Discord. Hop on in. And let's all play a lot more games together, because this is just, I mean, that's what cons do, right? It puts you in the path of people you just want to spend more and more time with.
Put you in the mood.
Yes, and put you in the mood. Another thing that was just so freaking cool, Zach, the community manager, also told us that Cobalt Press has a fund that they reserve for creators to help them with projects. So, it could be like to pay for a GM. This is just an example. Pay for a GM to run games for your Patreon or something like that, to help you. Just sort of, it's like a little grant or something. We're definitely going to learn more. But just who does that? Who does that?
I know.
It's just so freaking cool. So that's another thing that we could say now. I mean, we would get pros. We would get pros like Rice Combo. We would get pros like Kai, and we would really, really be able to pay them.
As the person that was the most hesitant to try new games just a couple of years ago, like now seeing and hearing all these different game systems, and the chat right now is kind of blowing up with what people are interested in.
Yes.
I don't know. It's just also good. I love it so much. Oh, wow. Chris, gifting memberships. Oh my.
Wow.
My goodness. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Now you too can
yeah.
chat with our silly little emotes, which is the main
Go
point of our
emotes.
membership is to get our
Go.
Yeah.
Modes.
Thank
so
you.
sweet.
Yes.
Thank you for that gift. So yeah, definitely big takeaway. Get into our Discord, you guys,
Yeah.
because we want to talk about all these games y'all want to play with you.
Yeah.
So
at least
here's
do
my
that.
my TOV takeaway question for you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Would you replace your 5e games with TOV?
I would.
I mean,
I think real hard about
5e
it.
2014, 100%. It's already done in my mind. Like,
Yeah.
I will
Like, there's no-
immediately,
yeah.
piece by piece, add this to our Barovia game.
I was
Yeah,
going to say,
starting
like,
with the
could we,
luck. Yeah. Oh,
could
yeah.
we, with our Strahd game, which we still have at least 4 more years to play,
Yes.
right?
Probably.
We've been playing since 2020.
2020. We're never gonna finish Strahd. I love it though.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to do.
The endless death of Strahd.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited to get to play with Kai in a week or two, and
Next
I
weekend,
would heartily support rolling in TOV into our home game as well.
Yeah,
so
I would
let's do it.
I would do that immediately, and I think you could do it piece by piece. Start with the luck, add the weapon. Oh, I loved the weapon. They have a name. Basically, weapon powers, weapon maneuvers, weapon
The weapon mastery idea. Okay, cool.
So freaking cool. Just little tiny things that they added, and not difficult for anyone to pick up. So options.
Yep.
So is Tales of the Valiant the real D&D 5.5?
Well, we don't know. Do we? Do we know that? Because
I'd buy it.
we're not even talking about WotC in 2024 game and the drama, and we're not doing that this week.
Not touching
I
it.
mean,
but
ring. Pinkertons are on their way to our houses. Just for saying
You know
that.
what, Matt? I bet you could hold up your Tales of the Valiant Player's Guide and Monster Vault, and they Kobold Press probably won't send anybody after you.
they probably won't.
Just,
They probably
just a
won't.
guess.
Yeah, probably not. We're
Ninjas.
being hard on them.
They'll send
They've
ninjas
backed
after
down,
you.
of course, a little bit. But I do not have... Yeah, we're going to be talking to Jake at Swordplay and Sorcery. We're going to be talking to Rice Combo.
Yep.
And we're going to... I'm just going to say it out loud into the world, manifest it. We would love it for either or both of y'all, now that you've had a chance to sit with the actual players. And if you could come on the stream and talk about it with us and compare it to these other things, that'd be awesome. So I don't have the answer yet because I don't have that book, Biv, but
right.
as soon as we do,
we will do the research and get back to you. Yeah.
So you're saying a comparison mashup is in our future. We're going to play both.
Oh yeah,
and mano y mano.
I've got advanced level of advanced 5e. I've got Tales of the Valiant, which is the current winner. I've got 2014, and then when we get 2024, it's gonna be
there's
some games in our future.
Yeah, there's a lot of games.
So now we need to throw the other game that I am still
Yes,
my
please.
number one, my A1. Which is Daggerheart, which was the final game that we got to play.
Good.
Swordplay and Sorcery is here. Been a big fan of their channel. We all met through the Dungeon Coach, DC20, of course. Please go subscribe to that channel as well. We knew we were getting to play with Daniel from Bladebound Saga. That was already in the works, and we were planning on being at a table together. And we're standing in line, waiting to go in, and all of a sudden I hear, Allison? Matt? And I look over and there's Jaken.
Yeah,
that's very
cool. So meant to be. So we got to play Daggerheart with Jaken, Bladebound Saga, and 2 other randos who were lovely. We had the best table and DM karma at this year's con. And so we don't have to spend too much time on Daggerheart unless you guys have any specific questions that you'd like to ask. But as you know, Daggerheart is very near and dear to my heart. That's the one I've been GMing the most of and plan on GMing a whole lot more in the very near future, patrons.
It's so good.
I love it.
Sounds like there were some interesting experimental rules.
So we played with the experimental rule set, so as they're kind of sunsetting the beta, they dropped some bombs on us. And the biggest one is that the action tractor toot toot can go away. And instead the GM is running
or will.
It's experimental, so you don't have
up
to
in the
do
air.
it. You can This
Not
is
sure.
you can try it this way. And we're not even sure. The GM that we had, his name was also Daniel. He pulled out the biggest 3D, 3-tier ship that we've played on at our table, made all the other tables so jealous. Lied to us, looked us in the eye and told us that he's not a good GM, so he uses props to be a good GM. And at the end, we were like, no, incorrect. You were a phenomenal GM.
He made this?
Really
And
good.
he made this. And his daughter, his
Wow.
5-year-old daughter, had painted the minis and had painted aspects of the interior. It was so good.
He admitted to being on the spectrum, and that was part of it. And I feel like there was a part of him that, so basically he was explaining the game to Jakin and the 2 other people at the table because they were brand new. The 3 of us, of course, knew the game, and our Daniel, I'll just say our Daniel has played 70 has GM'd 70 Daggerheart games. So our Daniel kind of knew everything except the super experimental rules, maybe even a little better. So it was a little, I wish we had another full hour with this guy. I would have played for I would have gone for a 5-hour game because
6 hours.
Because we didn't get to finish. But I know that he needed to finish and he did it really well. He explained it extremely well, very careful and clearly. But then we ran out a little time. But man, when he brought out this stuff, we're like, okay, that's fine if you are just a miniature guy that 3D prints everything. But then he was descriptive and exciting and got combat moving. He told these great stories about Spencer Stark and how cool they are, how the entire Darrington team is amazing. And
I love hearing that.
Come on. It's just so great.
Well, and he played by the Allison rules of GMing, which is strong start, throw him into a combat immediately. So we hop on the ship and immediately we're fighting 2 Wyvern. And that was so much fun. I played a Guardian. I am now coming for DT. We are in a Daggerheart game with Bladebound Saga. Now I want to play a Guardian too, because it was so fun to tank it out. Somebody asked I think it was White Fox, do you still love the duality dice? Abso-freaking-lutely. One of my favorite mechanics. And then to answer your question, Evan, about so I don't know that the other tables were playing with the experimental rules. They may have been playing with action trackers. That was the thing that Daniel was telling us, is that each GM kind of had some leeway to run the game as they wanted to, and he wanted to run it with experimental, which was, for anybody familiar with Daggerheart, so normally you have the action tracker. I can't say it correctly anymore because I've been saying it wrong for so long. Stop it. And so anytime any of your players do anything that constitutes an action, whether that's move, make an attack, interact, etc., you're piling onto the action tracker. I can do hard things. And that's what's fueling the GM moves. This does away with that completely. And basically, anytime you get fear, you give them fear. The fear tracker is hidden from you, so you don't actually know at any given time what they're stockpiling. And so it's a little bit more of a I go, you go, I go, you go. Whereas
when you dip, I dip.
When I dip, you dip, we dip. Whereas when you're playing action, and I remember, I actually didn't hate it, because I do remember in some of the games that I've run for us, feeling like the players almost feel like I'm ganging up on them when I go 7 times in a row. And I'm like, bros, I'm just emptying. You gave me all of these tokens and now I'm just emptying the bowl. And I remember feeling this, why is she still going? And I feel like when we get into the more of a you go, I go, you go, I go, it diminishes that feeling a little bit.
Yeah.
But it does also diminish the flow, because the whole point of it is that it's this very elegant, collaborative, we're all working together. And so then when you get into more of a volley, it takes away that kind of streamlined elegance that we've all, come to know and love.
Yeah. So it's a little different, but White Fox up in the chat asks whether we still love the duality dice. Mm-hmm. And I would say that with this new, whether it's going to be a new option or it's going to be the new, it matters even more. Mm-hmm. And I think that's duality dice are great. I think duality dice are
it's so fun.
In the same way that the Fate die in Tales of the Valiant is hope is for this game. And it's just another level of I think speeding combat along, or at least diminishing the roll. What a waste of time. I'm waiting for somebody else for another 10 minutes. I think it moves things along. I think it inspires players. I think it's super cool. So Duality Dice for the win.
Yeah, so we had a great time. And I will say, if you're interested in Daggerheart, we played with pre-gens this time and in some of their published kind of playtest material one-shots. Had a great time. So if you can get a group together, we can maybe run some of those. I know that Bladebound Saga also runs pretty much weekly Daggerheart one-shots at this point. There are plenty of ways to get into games here on Al Gore's internet. Whenever y'all are ready.
Al Gore plays Daggerheart. I mean,
Al Gore plays Daggerheart.
What other kind of endorsement do you need?
So we and then and the other thing I guess we should mention as far as the games that we play, we did play DC20. We got to see Dungeon Coach. We got to go to his hotel and hang out with him. It was the dress rehearsal for his big game with Brennan and Abria, or as I like to call it, Brennan and Abria were our sloppy seconds.
Damn.
Yeah.
And
shots fired.
We don't have
we
lot.
were kind of guinea pigs.
Yeah, we were. And we don't have much to report there. We played some of the same characters that you guys have seen us play in the one shot that we did with Glenn, who's here in the chat with us. And just it's always a joy to play with, the person who is creating the game and see. Yeah. It's been fun to see how it's changed since we first played it with him at this was our third time playing with him. We got to play it at GaryCon, GenCon last year, GenCon this year, and it's fun.
I think any of you that know Alan know that he is a very straight shooter, and is razor focused on his game and the world of his game. And when we have played DC20 before, he has always been there to give us advice on how the rules are actually work and so on and so forth. Maybe Glenn, you've discovered this as well. It felt really good to be able to give that back to him. Like immediately say, okay, dude, how long are they here? 3 hours, just like us? Yeah. There's a lot of stuff you're going to have to cut. You're going to have to rearrange this. You're going to have to hit these things. He, of course, I mean, he had all of it there. He had everything he needed. He just, so it was good for us to be able to give him that feedback. For sure.
And so Glenn has asked, White Fox, I'm sorry that we missed you at Gen Con. We'll have to plan that better next year. So Glenn asked about Cosmere RPG and specifically the plot die. This is something that has just trickled into our Discord this week. I think Seth was posting about it, so I know nothing. So, no, we have to get to know a new game and talk about it.
I know. Okay.
Ooh. Nuts.
I actually, man, so Glenn, are you saying real quick, are you saying that Cosmere is also a 5e variant? I've kind of heard that too. I was very interested in both the Mistborn game, card game and the Cosmere, but we just ran out of time. But I'm 100% into it. I'm deep in the books right now. So it's a beautiful magic system. I hope they can pull off that concept in a game. We'll see.
Yeah. Cosmere and
but it
Draw
was
Steel,
everywhere.
MCDM I know that two are that are big on my radar, but I just don't know anything about them yet. So
cool.
We'll learn. We'll get
Thanks,
there.
White Fox. Yeah, I'm psyched.
So those are the games as we come up at the hour. But Evan got to do some cool things while Matt and I were off, rolling the clacks with friends. If you want to kind of talk us through what you were up to, I want to hear about that as well.
Yeah. Fitz and I made the hard choice to not attend the TOV game. There was a conflict that we really wanted to go see the owners, I guess, the people who started Rascal.news. If you're not familiar with it, it's all amazing journalism on all things TTRPG. And co-founded, one of the members is Linda Codega, who, of course, is the journalist who broke the OGL story. And so it was them and their cohorts, Chase and Rowan, and they just talked about how they started Rascal, what the future of Rascal's doing. It turns out, I think Lynn has gotten a job offer. They would not disclose what that is, but they will still be active with Rascal to some degree, but stepping back, and they're going to be bringing in a new writer. So it was just, and we got to ask them questions, we got to meet them, and it was just a really great time because it's a cool publication and stuff that we were really curious about, especially, you know, in the world, you know, where you're creating the content, but then you also have to think about how do you, as you know, we're not journalists, but we're still people who have opinions about things. And I will share this. We had a question for them, and Allison kind of gave us this question to ask, which is when you're in a position where you're kind of critiquing something, how do you find the balance between like having a headline that's clickbaity that gets people to click into it, and also maintaining your integrity? Mm-hmm. And they all had different answers, but the general feeling was maintain your integrity. You can have a clickbaity title, but say what you actually think. Don't fall into the trap of just being nice about something, because you're not serving the TTRPG community. You're not serving the creator. If you're critiquing a game or whatever, you know, you're not helping them get better. They're not saying be mean about something, but offer your honest feedback on something, and don't hold back. I think Lynn said, don't hold back. So that was really great advice to hear, and just a great opportunity to go and do that firsthand. So we did that. And then that evening, Fitz and I went to see some TTRPG based improv with, if you're familiar with Dropout TV, you might have seen a guy named Ross Bryant on there from time to time. He's also on the Glass Cannon pod network. And he had his own improv show with some Chicago luminaries, people. I guess Brandon still lives in Chicago. I actually don't know. But some folks from LA. Anyway, it was, you know, people that I recognized and a couple other that I didn't, but they were, of course, super hilarious. I got to meet Ross. He was just a nice fella. And then later that night, we all went to go see Faster Purple Worm Kill. Which I admittedly, I had not watched an episode of that yet. Yeah, that's right. Sarah S. Mobs. Yeah, we saw your roomie.
Everybody dies.
Such a nice guy.
Yes.
And Ross was also in Faster Purple Worm Kill that evening.
Yes.
And
Becca Scott.
And Becca Scott, very cute. And while we were waiting in line, Matthew Lillard came up behind us and high-fived everybody in the line. I guess Faster Purple Worm is produced by Beetle and Grimm in conjunction with D&D. And so Matthew Lillard is in many, if not all of those shows. And it was funny. It was fun as hell. I love that DM. He was hilarious. The cast was hilarious. Of course, Ross just crushed it. It was a very exciting one shot. Like sometimes one shots just don't feel that satisfying, but I loved it.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say real quick, I get I don't know how, but Prime always tries to serve me the D&D channel, and now I've been skipping the Purple Worm Kill. Now I'm gonna stop and watch it every time.
I know, because Patton Oswalt. I really there's like people in there that we want to see. I just haven't. I mean, again, it's like I think it's Critical Role syndrome, because I'm like, okay, I'm so far behind on that. I can't start something else.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But now I'm gonna do it.
We had given ourselves permission at the beginning of as we were waiting in line to go into Faster Purple Worm. Like if we're not feeling this, we can bounce after half an hour. And
I was starting to
the whole
feel whack.
Oh yeah, nobody wanted to leave.
Nobody wanted to leave because we were thoroughly, and exactly that. Like they did a good job of moving the storyline along, realizing they were playing for other people, which is hard, in an actual play, because you want to have fun and explore and get to know your stuff. But other people might not care what your character thinks about that doorway, Allison.
Right. No more doors. You know what? I just say let's just banish doors.
Removing all doors from now on.
TTR. Yeah, just portals from now on.
I'm going.
We tried to do that with Glenn a couple weeks ago on our DC20.
Yeah.
One shot.
That's-
So
we
Glenn gave
tried.
us only doors.
Extra doors.
Extra doors.
Extra doors. Yeah.
Right. Amazing.
Yeah.
And then, so that was basically the con. And then we learned last year, even though we were exhausted and just we had planned games on Sunday, but from now on we've learned don't plan anything on Sunday. Don't think you can make it happen. We're not going to plan anything. But what we did do
if you're a
last year-
whippersnapper,
maybe if you're a whippersnapper.
We're not whippersnappers, Evan.
It's there's no need. But last year we ran around and we bought the things we wanted to buy because Sunday everybody's packing up and getting out. But we were able to meet the Darrington Press people last year, which was fun. And this year we were just walking around again, buying stuff. Loved the Vampire Masquerade booth, and then we got to the Beetle and Grimm booth and the Shadow Dark booth, and Shadow Dark had won 4 awards, 4 Ennies, which is like the GenCon award, which is a huge deal. I don't even remember what they are. Best game for sure.
It's the Tonys of
it's the Tonys
TTRPGs.
of TTRPGs. And so it's a really big deal. And so Kelsey Dion, Arcane Library, had a tiny little adorable booth. I didn't even know they were going to have such a thing. And they walked over and we saw our friend Mike from High Noon, who had helped us. Darn it, I say it every time. Sorry, Mike from High Night.
Now I think you're doing it on purpose,
it's like
Maddie.
Tractor. It's just like Action Tractor.
It's like Action
Okay.
Tractor. I can't. Yeah, now that it's in your muscle memory, it's fine.
I was standing with Fitz, and Fitz says, "Isn't that Mike from Night Noon?" And I was like, "Yeah, that is Mike from Night Noon." And so apparently, he now works for Arcane Library and Kelsey and helps her out. Yeah.
So
and
nice.
Baron DeRop was standing right there. Those of you know
chilling.
him. Dungeon Masterpiece or Masterpiece Theater of great. All like the brainiest mofos. The brainiest mofos. Mike.
Like
Mike's,
coolest hip kids of D&D.
Oh my God.
And TTRPGs.
Like just the level. I mean, like ADHDM level, brainy. I mean, the Baron Drop stuff is just him in full suit, just talking about, D&D and real life events and how they could be put into your game and all this stuff. And Mike's videos are very similar, just like super high. So definitely go and find those dudes. Anyway, so I bought a physical copy of Shadow Dark and all the extras. And 2 things. Mike is like 8 foot tall, and Baron DeRop is swole. I did not know. He is huge.
Those
huge.
baggy suits are hiding some buff muscle.
Oh
muscles.
my God. That guy's
all right.
ripped. Anyway, so I just kind of hang out. Also, there's Luke Gygax just
chilling.
Just standing around. I don't know why.
Yeah.
But Mike says,
that was the hip kids corner of TTRPG.
Yeah,
it really
Yeah,
was. It was the hipsters corner.
And Kelsey seemed really nice. I just walked up on the tail end of y'all's conversation, but she just seemed
he said you
cool.
cannot leave without getting her to sign this book. And I have had a TTRPG crush on her since I discovered her the games. Her 5e work, the adventures are written for a neurodivergent brain, even if they're not. And I've seen her videos. She's Midwestern. I was just hoping that she was cool, and I was not disappointed at all.
Delivered.
She was so sweet, so cool. We told her that we had done an actual play. She said, "You've got to tell me where," and so. We gave her a card and we mentioned Lord Bahamut. Tatamet, thank you.
Magnunamet.
It must say Matt's personal fact checker here.
Thank you, please. Thank you. Tatamet, who's a fan, a guy in our Discord who we love, and she's like, he's so amazing and does all this amazing stuff. Just
incredible world
everything
builder.
You want. Yeah, incredible world building. All you want, you just want the people, your heroes, to be that kind of self-aware, sweet, thoughtful, intelligent, like giving and people and Kelsey, just it trickles down, man. Jenny D. We went to a panel with Jenny. Just same thing. Just seemed like
Vibes are
if
immaculate.
there was a different world,
She's very cool.
we could sit down and have coffee and know her, right? Like just cool freaking people. So
well, boys,
then
great con.
That was it. Great con.
No, well,
good
with
stuff.
our game purchases, we were forgiven. So we've mentioned we walked away with some great source materials. I got two.
Thank you.
Will Foy, friend of the channel, gifted us a TTRPG board game called Adventure Party that we'll be playing. And I walked away from with a Monty Cook game called The Devil's Dandy Dogs that someone told me about while we were playing Daggerheart. And what got me is the GM basically plays the devil who has sent dogs out in their stead to steal souls. And the mechanic of the game is played with tarot cards. So I was like, soul stealing tarot. Yeah, that's my game.
Satan.
So we did. We let y'all down on dice, but we walked away with supporting a lot of really interesting creators and swag in that regard. So maybe our time my time as a dice gremlin is shifting. Maybe it's okay to let
Gen Con yet?
Myself go.
Is it Gen Con yet? It's almost Gamehole Con.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Good stuff. Good stuff.
Yeah.
The Brainiacs.
Yeah. Thanks for listening to us recount the glory.
The glory that was Gen Con 2024. I sure am glad we went, man.
Yeah, it feels...
we almost didn't.
We almost didn't, number one. Yeah. Number two, we didn't mention how strange it was. The D&D presence was very muted, I would say. We thought the 50th year was going to be...
balls to the wall.
It wasn't really.
Now, there was some cool secret stuff going on.
Yeah.
There was some secret stuff.
Yeah, there was. Now it's not secret anymore. There's, the actual play with all the luminaries.
Right.
But, us plebes don't have access to knowledge like that.
Yep.
But I said in the
but
Discord,
it wasn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
But you're right. It wasn't like out and everywhere. Like, here we are, like at the center of things.
It wasn't.
What did you
for the
think
50th
at the
year.
50th anniversary?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was interesting. But for us, for our group, it felt it just made me so proud of all of us, like everybody in the chat, that we have found each other in this year, because the pocket dimension didn't exist a year ago at this day. So it just felt so good to see Jake and Daniel and Will and Kai and everybody and just it felt like we're doing the right thing. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for just hanging out with us, man.
Yeah. If you've enjoyed today's chitter chatter, we have a Discord. It is full of the coolest people on the internet. And no, I'm not talking about the 3 chuckleheads you see on the screen right now. I am fascinated every day by our community. Link is in the show notes, as is our Patreon. There is a free tier there if you want to hop in, and then that way you can get notified when cool things are coming, like game announcements. Our patrons today are getting first access to the next episode 3 of The Adventures of Bud and Herb, our brand new podcast starring Evan and Fitz.
It's getting stickier and stickier, you guys.
It's
buckle
smellier
up.
and smellier.
Oh,
that's right.
Cheers.
And we love all of you and love that you came and hung out with us in chat today. And we'll hopefully see you back with Fitz next week.
Yeah. We will.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, yeah.
We're all going to kick our con crud.
Yeah, con crud.
Stay
healthy.
Stay healthy, everybody. Beans!
Stay frosty.
The magical fruit.